Hi, this is Win Claybaugh. Welcome to my Best of Masters weekly audio blog for AmericanSalon.com. Next up is one of my favorite clips from the last 20 years of inspiring interviews from Masters Audio Club. What other ideas, advice would you have for salon owners or, again, these industry leaders that are looking for that passion? Because it's so easy to get weighed down with the responsibilities that we have. For you, it was competition. What other advice do you have?
I'd say definitely photography. Get your work photographed and send it in to the industry magazines. And if it's not, and I think it is a trophy to see your picture published.
Absolutely it is.
You know, it doesn't have to be competition. And when you get that, as soon as that happens once, just one time, your colleague is going to want that too. Yeah. And he's going to want to take fabulous pictures, and it just becomes extremely contagious. And they show it off to their clients, and clients love it. They love to see your work in magazines. Yeah. They love to hear about you. It was so funny the other day. Leo's award, the NAHA award, was on the local, Montreal paper. And one of my very good clients who's been with me for a while, her husband was reading the paper, and the title was Quebecer wins NAHA, the most prestigious award in North America. He says, you see, there you go. It's not your famous Salon Pure. So she goes, it isn't? And she was really surprised. It isn't? He goes, right. It says so right here. His name is Leo Forsyth. No. And he keeps reading, and he goes, oh boy.
From Salon Pure.
From Salon Pure. And he goes, oh my God, I think I'm going to start believing you, because, she went home, month after month, and they're doing this, and Anna's doing this, and Danielle's doing this, and her other colorist won this award, and at one point, this is a whole bunch of baloney, sure, they're not the best, and, he came out and he goes, you see, it's not your Salon Pure, it's someone else, Leo. Oh my God, it is. I'm taking that back.
That's perfect.
And that was, I thought that was hilarious.
That's a great story.
Yes.
You mentioned your father, and you mentioned before we started recording, again, that your father kind of gets after you and continues to remind you of the importance of the bottom line. Do me a favor, give our listeners a good little pep talk here scold us a little bit about the importance of that bottom line.
The bottom line, you cannot fly artistically if you're not solid. You are limited, totally limited. You have to, it's very, very important. You have to be fair. You have to pay well, but do not give out money you don't have. I think that the biggest hole, where money goes into is probably in technical services, where you're giving 30% to the stylist, 50% to the colorist, and you're left with 20%. You hardly pay the product. You hardly pay your expenses, let alone the rent. And if you're in a big location, forget it. You're losing money every time a client walks into your shop. Don't do them. Don't do them. What is the point? Calculate every single penny, and it is very important. I know some salons that they do this, and then they start cutting out on, less assistants, less hours for the receptionist, not as good of a quality coffee and teas. They take away the juices, they take away the service. And competition is enormous, is really out there. So you have to keep those services alive and give the most that you can, but you cannot give it all out in salaries and not being careful with the products that you buy. You don't need 1,000 lines. Stick to a few very good ones. I'm not saying top lines either. You have to take a look at the type of clientele that you have, and if you're in a downtown high-end salon, obviously the quality of your products has to be a little higher or more expensive. Don't sell things that do not cater to your clientele, or don't use products that are extremely expensive on your stations. You have to measure everything, and don't try to imitate a salon that isn't similar to your situation. I can go on and on about this, and sometimes I look at numbers and I feel they should even be, a little higher than this. But at the end, what I go by is anywhere between 10 and 20 20 is maybe a little high. I'm trying for that 20% profit margin. I don't think I'm going to get there. But 10 and 15% you must keep. If not, you're doing something wrong.